If any type of film has defined the 2020s so far, it would be the Legacy sequel, and the latest addition to that trend would be Alien Romulus. Now, I have a bit to say, and I don't want to waste your time, so let's jump right in. Alien Romulus follows a group of Weyland-Yutani miners attempting to escape off the planet they are being forced to work on, breaking into an abandoned station in order to use their cryostasis chambers. Unfortunately for them, this ship is infested with facehuggers, and as the xenomorphs begin to hunt them down, it's a race to get off the ship alive. Rather simplistic plot, but it does lead to a lot of fun moments. The zero gravity scene in the hallway is one of my favorites. Trying to hide from the facehuggers by matching the room's temperature to the character's body heat is neat. Pretty much anything involving the actual xenomorphs is great, and the ending, we'll get there. That simple story only works as well as it does because the characters aren't one-dimensional. Don't get me wrong, they are a bit underdeveloped, but they still work. Insert mention of my previous video on A Quiet Place Day 1 and its characters. Consider watching that when you're done with this video if you haven't already. Our leading protagonist, Rain, is being forced into labor in the mines. Slavery. She's a slave. She dreams of returning to her homeworld where the sun actually comes out every morning. After serving her mandated hours from Weyland-Yutani, they are doubled to keep her in the mines. And after her parents lose their lives from poor working conditions, she's willing to take the risk of stealing the cryostasis chambers and escaping to her homeworld. I do have to say, while I think what's here is solid, the character does feel underdeveloped in places. There's not enough emphasis on her motive past just the setup. I enjoyed her, but she's not deep at all. There's a major drop-off with the other characters, but the film still goes with that simplicity approach. Andy is Rain's surrogate brother, a Weyland-Yutani android reprogrammed by her father to protect her. Outside of Rain, he is probably the most interesting storyline. When the group is separated and half of them are locked in a room with facehuggers, Andy puts in a drive from another android to open the doors. However, this overrides his programming, turning him to a lifeless machine who is only doing the company's bidding for the remainder of the film. He works as a solid antagonistic force and is definitely a highlight of the cast. Tyler is the closest we get to a main supporting character, being Rain's ex-boyfriend. It's implied his parents were also killed in the mines, but that's about all we get from him. I wish we did get a bit more since he sticks around for most of the movie, but he serves his purpose just fine. His sister Kay is another story. I did feel bad for her at times since she's the only character who didn't actually enter the ship, but the film made it where anytime something bad happens, she's somehow right in the middle of it. She's not characterized at all besides being pregnant, which is an excuse to have that ending. We are getting there. Tyler and Kay's cousin Bjorn is ironically one of the most fleshed out characters despite dying early on. He has it out for androids because his mom died when one of them shut down the mines to save a larger amount of people. This prejudice sets off the events of the film, where he locks Andy out of the ship, giving the xenomorph time to burst out of his girlfriend Navarro. It's a solid setup for the character, but he dies immediately, so I guess that's it. Navarro has nothing going for her, but she's the first host, so I wouldn't hold that against the actual film. Rounding out the cast would be the android Rook, the lone survivor on the station. He serves as a secondary antagonist, and he's a decent one at that. Not really writing related, but the effects used to make him look like Ash from the first film does not always hold up. In the first scene with him specifically, the mouth area really sticks out. Other than that, he's a decent villain, but there really isn't much to him. Of course, the main reason people come to these movies is the aliens, and they are great as expected. The facehuggers being a threat for as long as they were was a nice surprise, and the scenes with the xenomorphs are just fantastic. But of course, that leaves a major elephant in the room that I've been ignoring for majority of the video. Let's talk about that ending. So, confession, I've only seen two Alien movies, the original 1979 film and its sequel Aliens. Also the Alien vs Predator movies if you want to count those. So I am not the most knowledgeable person on this franchise. I've always been more of a Predator guy. They've got blades, they've got cool masks, they've got Arnold. But when this black goo shit that I was told is from the Prometheus and Covenant films showed up in the 30 minutes before the film ended, I had questions, and let me say, I still do. At the end of the film, Kay takes the black goo stuff trying to heal herself from all the injuries she sustained. Unsurprisingly, this has an effect on her baby, and lo and behold, the fetus morph. So apparently the fetus morph is supposed to be a Prometheus thing, but it's just odd. Like, the xenomorph is already a mix of human and alien, so what is this thing supposed to be? It's really really just this odd looking thing. Even ignoring that, the goose stuff isn't established until over halfway through the film. So ignoring the weird lore implications, this just hurts the pacing. The film feels like it's dragging once this happens. And I get it. It's like a tradition for the Alien films to have this twist right before the film ends. There's an alien on the ship or something, but this one just doesn't feel right. And again, I don't have some deep attachment to the Alien series, but I'm just not feeling this ending. I feel it drags the movie down a lot. So in summary, Alien Romulus is just a mixed bag. At its best, it's a simple film that feels like it's playing things too safe for its own good. And at its worst, it's a film that's taking massive risks that don't seem to land. This could greatly benefit from developing its characters and certain plot lines. Because as is, this is a very thin film from a script perspective. We know nothing about most of the characters, and our main character is given the bare minimum. The film wants to play it off with dialogue that these characters all apparently have history, but they don't have that chemistry. They don't have connections, it's all really shallow. When walking into this movie, I was hoping it to be the Prey of the Alien franchise. A film that would revive a dying series with one fantastic standalone. But Romulus is more of a film that is almost too scared to stand on its own. Walking out of the theater, I thought the film was a solid 8, but the ending knocked it down to a 6 for me. But after a few days to reflect, it's got too many problems. At its best, I'd give it a 7, but as an overall product, it's a 5. Painfully average. And it's a shame because it had the potential for so much more. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and comment, as it does help against the YouTube algorithm. I also have a video of A Quiet Place Day 1 popping up in the card right now. In this video, I explain how fleshed out characters can make a simple alien story work extremely well. If that catches your eye, I'll see you there.